just out there. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's a mix of everything. You know what I mean? And we love them more than whole complete albums because you don't get your same artist. Same time, you're not listening to the same person through the whole. You know what I mean? And if you are, you're listening to them on different fresh tracks or you know what I mean, other stuff injected in it. So that's what mixtapes kind of made hip hop fun for real.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, we saw the evolution of the mixtape, and that's why I posed that question, like the evolution of the mixtape, where you know if you go from the late '80s to early '90s, you saw the mixtape. Well, let's start in the early '80s. The mixtapes were basically artists like you know Furious 5, Funky 4+1, Crash Crew. You know, the list goes on and on. Treacherous 3, where they would do live performances and it would just be somebody at these shows to record it. Mm-hmm. And they would sell them, you know, put them on the street. Like, you feel what I'm saying? But this is before record deals and things like that came into place. Mm-hmm. Then once you go to the 80s, you start to see the technique of it all, where the DJs were actually blending and putting breakbeat compilations together. Then you go to the late 80s and early 90s, you start to see the emergence of people like Kid Capri who were putting together whatever the hottest new music was on the street.
Right.
And they was giving these artists, really helping you, pushing these artists because Ron G, Kid Capri, people like that, they were playing the music, and a lot of times we would get to hear the music on the mixtape. You get the music on the mixtape, and then you'll go get the album. Yeah, it made you want to go get the album.
Yeah, but see, listen, and that's listen. I'm telling you, mixtapes were promo for these guys. Mixtape was the ultimate avenue, the ultimate car that would drive these hip hop artists' careers. Man, you hear him on it, you're definitely gonna go get it. If you hear him and it's nice, you're like, yo, I'm gonna get that. But guess where it came from? Those guys like K Slate, Ron G, DJ Clue, SNS, DJ Who Kid. Like you said, we can go on and on and on and on. The Green Lantern, we can go on and on and on forever. These DJs, man, deserve their recognition, man. You know, and that's why you see a lot of them on the radio running the radio stations.
Right, you know because they, now, you know, as a hip hop purist, now I'm not even gonna lie. When we got to the mid 90s, you started seeing less technique. You know what I mean?
What you mean? When you got to the mid 90s, you started seeing less technique.
I started seeing less technique where people like, and this is no disrespect to anybody.
People like who, bro?
DJ Clue, for example. And I used to rock DJ Clue mixtapes.
But what do you do though?
But this is what when you start to get to that era, 95, 96, 97, it was less technique. And more, I'm gonna play the exclusive song. I'm gonna play the song that nobody has heard. Yeah. And you started seeing, now it was still people that was doing that. DJ Juice and a whole bunch of other ones that was still the Tony Touch. The technique was still a part of it, and they played the exclusive. But I'll use Clue for example because he was probably the most prominent DJ in the mid 90s. He basically just played exclusive records. There was really no technique to what.
You say he got too big for his own good. Just got too big.
No, I just
did he get lazy? You think he got lazy?
No, I just think that the core audience wanted something else. People look for that exclusive Nas, that exclusive Biggie, that exclusive Jay-Z.
Right.
People wanted, instead of really paying attention to the technique of DJ, like damn, that was, a hell of a blend, or you know, I like the way he transitioned that in, or the way he cut that out. It became who got the exclusives, songs that you want to hear.
It did.
So with that being said, and going to LB's next comment where he was like a bunch of freestyles and unreleased tracks, and that's essentially what I'm hitting around right now. That's really what it became. And 50 Cent opened a whole nother door where he used that market as a way to re-emerge himself without a record label being attached. And got him his bag, and we saw where his career went. So
it was a smart move by 50.
Yeah. Smart move. To where we at today, when you get to a Lil Wayne, Then the mixtape became. Now let's not get this.
But that's not Wayne's fault though.
Hold on, let me say what I gotta say.
That's not Wayne's fault.
A lot of those albums aren't mixtapes. A lot of those mixtapes aren't traditional mixtapes. What 50 Cent did was a mixtape, and I'm gonna tell you, his.
Oh, okay. Hold on, you just said 50 didn't. 50 just opened a whole nother door.
He did, but it started with him.
Okay.
But what 50 Cent did was, and to me, this is the difference between an album and a mixtape.
Right.
50 Cent did a lot of stuff over other people's beats.
Yeah, he did.
Like where it wasn't his. It was, I'm going to take this song and flip it my way.
He did that.
But then when you get to a lot of these other artists,
they use regular beats on mixtapes.
They use original beats and stuff like that on their mixtapes. And if I had to take a guess, I would say it would be songs that maybe they couldn't get sample clearance for or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and they started creating albums out of these things. And there was a debate for a little while, like, okay, what the hell is a mixtape? Right. Is this a mixtape or is it an album? You feel what I'm saying? Is this just music that your record label won't let you put out?
Probably.
I think it was a combination of
probably, and some few freestyles with it. A couple more people mixed in on the songs. That's a plausible explanation,
right? And I'm not knocking it. You know what I'm saying? But when you start talking with a certain demographic of people, it becomes like, okay, what are we talking about here? Like, what the hell is a mixtape? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or should at this point, the tape isn't even involved in it anymore. So.
Mixed record.
What are we? Why are we still
mixed stream?
Mixed stream.
Yo, you got the latest mixed stream. Yo, look, don't try to steal our words up here. Try to clone these words and come out and say you did that. I got it right here. Record it. It's mine.